So a little over a week ago, I made a video about my favorite 5 monthly dividend stocks I want to invest more into, and the purpose of those stocks is to help achieve one of the main goals that I have with investing, which is to create a portfolio that pays me at least $300 or $25 a month in passive income by the end of this year. That's something that will definitely start to impact me right now. But I want to share another investing goal that I have that will affect me more in the future. And that goal is to invest at least $50 every single month into my Roth IRA. And in this video, I want to show you guys that even though $50 is a small amount, how big of an impact it can have on you in your future. So an IRA is an individual retirement account. The individual part is there because you can actually create this account on your own and you don't need an employer to do it, unlike a traditional 401k. It has a max annual contribution of $6,500 a year or $7,500 a year if you're above the age of 50. And then you can let that money build over time, and you can withdraw that money when you approach retirement, or at least by the age of 59 and a half years old. Now, you just heard me mention the traditional 401k, and it's compared a lot to a 401k, but here are some of the biggest differences between the two. So traditional 401k is only available by most employers that offer it, whereas a Roth IRA you can set up individually. One of the coolest things about a 401k is that employers can match your contribution. For example, there are a lot of employers that I've had that can match up to 6% of 100% of what my contribution is. So for example, let's say I get paid and 6% of my paycheck is $60. So if I contribute $60 into my 401k, then my company will match 100% of that, which is another $60 or $120 for that contribution. And of course with the Roth, since it's not through an employer, there is no contribution. As far as how much you can put into it every single year, a 401k allows you to deposit $22,000 annually or over that, whereas a Roth IRA will only let you contribute $6,500 every year if you're below the age of 50 and $7,500 if you're above the age of 50. So with that information, a 401k honestly sounds like the immediate runaway option. Not only can you put more money into it every single year, but your employer has the opportunity to match up to 6% of that, whereas an IRA, there is no match at all and you have less of an annual contribution. But regardless, with all that being said, I chose to move money from a 401k into a Roth IRA rather than into my current 401k for reasons that I feel like are so important that in the future, depending on how my future goes financially, could disregard any of these other benefits that 401k has. And those reasons have everything to do with taxes. When you have a certain annual income, you have to pay a certain amount of taxes every single year. You can check that out with the tax bracket. It breaks it down pretty well. So let's say, for example, you're 16 years old, you get your first job, and you're making a little less than $11,000 per year. If you're at that tax bracket, you're only taxed 10% every single year. So let's also say over time, you get a job that lands you at least $45,000 every single year. Once your income goes up, your tax bracket goes up, and instead of paying 10% every single year, you're now paying 22% every single year. With a traditional 401k, the money comes directly from your paycheck and it goes into the 401k pre-tax, which is really good in the present because that means that money is not considered taxable income for when you file your taxes, so you won't owe as much. You potentially may get some money back. But then once you retire, you have to pull the money out and pay taxes at that point. Now with the Roth IRA, it works in reverse. By starters, the money isn't pulled from your personal check, it goes in as after taxes. So you can only do that by putting in checks or putting in cash. That money's taxed based off the tax bracket you're in, and then whenever you pull the money back out, you don't have to pay any taxes at all. Now that's important for a lot of people, especially myself, based on the current financial trajectory that I'm on and where I think I'll be at in the next 30 years or so, because I believe that I will be making even more money than I am right now. And what could possibly help me with that has a lot to do with my $50 a month goal. So again, my $50 a month goal is me contributing at least $50 a month into my Roth IRA for this entire year. $50 a month is $600 every year, which is $6,000 every decade, or about $18,000 by the time I retire or age 60. Yes, I'm 30 years old. That doesn't sound like a lot of money at all, especially for 30 years, especially for retirement. But I want to show you guys how impactful it can be based on how your financial trajectory goes if you put your money in a 401k versus an IRA. So check this out. Let's say I have two accounts, a traditional 401k and a Roth IRA. And let's also assume that there are no capital gains for the long term, there are no dividends, there are no interest, they're just accounts that are only impacted by taxes. So we're on the traditional 401k side. So let's say every single month I get paid $18,000 from my current employer. And when you put money into a 401k, it actually gets contributed from your paycheck before you receive the remaining of your money. But at this point, it's taking all of it. And because it's going directly from my paycheck, it's pre-tax money. So I don't get taxed on that at all. It goes into that account, and I actually reap some immediate tax benefits because that $18,000 doesn't get added as part of my taxable income, which can mean that's less money I owe to the government next year when I file taxes, and potentially to the point where I can make some money, but it just really depends. Well, anyway, 30 years from now, I'm 60 years old and I'm preparing for retirement if I haven't yet. But by that point, I have learned to make more sources of income. I've gotten promotions over promotions, and I'm in the six-figure field, which actually puts me at the 32% tax bracket, meaning I've increased my taxes by 10% from 30 to 60 years old. Now it's the time I can actually pull money out, but at that point, I have to withdraw those funds at the 32% tax bracket. And because of that, instead of pulling out $18,000, which is what I put in initially, I take out only $12,240. Yay me. Yay me, except this is what could have happened if I would have put my money into a Roth IRA. So with the Roth IRA, you deposit after-tax funds. So instead of my money getting deducted from my paycheck, I get the paycheck, and since I'm currently in the 22% tax bracket, assuming taxes is the only thing taken away from my paycheck, instead of me getting $18,000 put directly in my checking account, I only get $14,040, or 78% of that, or 22% less. So I take that $14,040 after tax money and I put that money directly into my Roth IRA. Same situation with my income happens. I get blessed enough to increase my sources of income, increase my income, get promotions and stuff like that. And I go from a 22% tax bracket to a 32% tax bracket within that 30 years. So I'm 60 years old now and I'm approaching retirement. And when I'm ready to pull my funds out, I pull the funds out tax-free because I've already paid those taxes when I put the $18,000 in or the $14,040 to begin with. So just assuming this example, assuming that I put $18,000 into both accounts and assuming that I go from a 22% to a 32% tax bracket, or I increase my tax bracket by 10% within 30 years based off my income, for every $18,000 I put into my Roth IRA, I save $1,800 as opposed to if I put it in a traditional 401k. Now on top of that, imagine if the money you put into your Roth IRA was being invested into the stock market, where it makes an average income of a little bit under what the stock market typically grows on average, which is about 7%. So with that in mind, assuming that you put $600 a year in a Roth IRA and a traditional 401k from ages 30 to 60, that money increases by 7% every single year by capital gains, and you go from a 22% tax bracket when you're 30 to a 32% tax bracket by the time you are 60. You would have made $58,603 in that Roth 401k, and in that traditional 401k, you would have only made $49,760. And before you guys get confused, I know I'm talking about Roth IRA and I'm mentioning an example that says Roth 401k. The predominant differences between the two is that a Roth 401k can be contributed by your employer and you can put more money into it, but we're assuming there's no contribution and you're putting the same amount. We're all gonna hopefully get older at some point, and it's definitely really important to make sure that you're financially prepared for when you get older, especially as you're approaching retirement. It's funny because I feel like it's a lot easier to try to be financially prepared for the present. It's really important, but a lot of people may be a little concerned or not too excited about throwing money to the side every single paycheck, whether it's bi-weekly or every single month, knowing that that money will contribute to you later on as you get older, because that seems so far away. But at the same time, a lot of us find it really important to try to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in our savings account. And that's money we can access immediately, but we're holding it there for the immediate future. But the long-term future is just as important, if not more. So hopefully this is something you guys decide to do, whether it's a Roth IRA or a traditional 401k or some type of retirement account. But I'm gonna stick to my goal of at least $50 a month into my Roth, and I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes in future videos. But hopefully $50 a month, despite the fact that it is a small amount, is a great start. But let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? Do you guys have a retirement account? If so, what kind? Whether it's from your employer or it's something you set up individually, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Do you guys have any tips? Make sure you leave those comments below. But I do appreciate you guys watching as always, and until next time, take care.